So here first of all I am going to declare few variables to which I am going to assign the values that I retrieve from the JSP through the form. So I am declaring an integer SID to pass the student ID. Next one is a string for name. Another one is a string for campus. Okay, so then now I am going to retrieve. So let's see how to retrieve. Type request dot get parameter. Inside this parameter of this dot get parameter method, pass the value, the name you have given for each input field. That's why I have said this name of these input fields are important. So I have given name for each input field. So for student ID it's ID. So ID. So the value here we retrieve can be the string. But we want it as an integer. So I am going to pass it as integer. Pass it. Okay, then next one is name. So the form for the name I have given the name as name, so no issue with that, and it's a string value, so no need to cast or pass anything. Then the next one is request dot get parameter. Next one is campus, and campus also string, so no need to change anything here. So we have now retrieve all the values. I think one is left, that is the checkbox values. Okay, now let's see how this checkbox works. So here the difference between this checkbox and other fields, I have already told it in the demonstration, that the other fields like input field like text or number or drop down list, those can only pass one value for each fields, but this checkbox can be used to pass multiple values. So it is not only helpful in just like in such forms, filling up these forms, in other ways, like for example, if you are retrieving a table of details like this list student, it will display a list of students, so all the students in the student table. And there what you can do is, if you want to delete multiple students at a time, you can have a checkbox in that table for each rows, and you can assign the value for each checkbox, the value of the primary key of each student, the student ID. Just like here I have given the value of this each module keys, you can assign the primary key of each records and pass those values to the servlet, and using a loop you can perform the delete function for each keys, IDs you have passed. So that in that way also it can be helpful. In other way, any other example, I think okay, if you are doing anything related to the reservation, if you're reserving rooms in a hotel, or if you're reserving tables in a restaurant, or if you're reserving ticket seats in a bus or theater. So anything related that you are doing, in that case also you can, if you want to reserve multiple items at a time, then you can use this checkbox feature. So in these ways this checkbox are helpful. So once the checkboxes are selected in the form, and the form is submitted, its values are going to be passed, and unlike the other fields, since it's passing multiple values, it's going to be passed as an array of values, a string array. So here I am going to declare an array, naming it as modules, and request dot. So here for others I call the request dot get parameter. Here I am going to call the request dot get parameter values, and the name here I am going to give is the name I have given for checkbox, that is modules. So in this DSP, if you see, so the name I have given for each checkbox is module. So the thing that is selected as modules in this form will be passed to this array. So now we are done with retrieving the passed values from the form. So the next thing is now to pass the arguments to the function to perform the CRUD functions. So for that we need to call the function in this student implementation class. So to do that we have to create an object of that class, student implementation. Equal to new student. Okay, the next step I am going to call a function that is add student, impl dot add student, and here in this place of id I am passing SID, and other fields are same as the variable name I have declared here, name and campus. So here I am passing the arguments as the values I have retrieved from the form, and thereafter the CRUD function will be performed as I implemented in the student implementation class for add student function. Okay, now we are done with inserting the values in the student table, and we have one more table is student modules. So after inserting into that table only this registration is complete, because at the time of the registration the module details are also getting recorded. So we have to pass the modules value to the table as well. So for that I have created another function, add student modules. Okay, so here now we are going to use a for loop. To pass each and every values in the this modules array. Okay, so I am setting the size of this module, this for loop, to the size of the length of the modules array. Then I plus it's for incrementing, and here inside for this SID. So this SID is going to be same for each all the time this loop works. only this MID, the module ID, is going to be changed. So every time the loop works, it will access the index equal to the I value, so modules I. Okay, that's it. So now we are done with this controllers, the servlets implementation. So now we can check it out by registering a student through this JSP. So now I'm gonna run this. Okay, now let's register a student. So I'm giving some random number 1001 and the name. I'm giving the name service and selecting the campus as metro and selecting 1 2 3 modules. Okay, or 4 modules there, and registering it. Okay, here I haven't set any success message or those things, so we only have to check it out whether it is inserted or not by going to this database SQL server and write an select statement. Select start from student and executing it. Yes, so the detail I have registered is inserted, and one more thing I have to check is the module, student modules table. So here it is, all the values are inserted into the student modules table as well. So we are done with the insert part of inserting the values to the table. So this is how it is done. We pass the values by entering the details in this form and then submitted it, and that is passed to this add student servlet. And here one more thing is, in this action, sometime this action may not work if you just give the name of the servlet. If that doesn't work, try it by giving like this dot and slash. In that way also it will work. So sometime it won't work if you just give the name, so that's an suggestion. So then after passing these values to this add student servlet, and here thereafter I assign the retrieved values separately to variables I have declared, and then I pass those values to the I have passed those values as arguments to the function I have implemented to perform the CRUD function. So thereafter the insert function is done. So that's it. So next let's see how this listing of student works, retrieving the table, student table. So let's see that.